What if I told you that one of the most heartbreaking child murder cases in America isn't really about who committed the crime? It is more about why the person did it and if the person understood reality at the time. Today we're diving into the Lindsay Clancy case, a story that has divided doctors, lawyers, and the public. If you're new here, I'm the Tiff in True Crime with Tiff, where you and I do deep dives, breaking news, cold cases, case updates, all the things. Now, let's get into it. On January 24th, 2023, the quiet town of Duxbury, Massachusetts became the center of a tragedy that shocked the nation. Police arrived to find 3 young children critically injured. 2 of them had already passed away. 1 of them was rushed to the hospital. 5-year-old Cora and 3-year-old Dawson were already deceased when they got there. 8-month-old Callan was the child who was rushed to the hospital, but later, unfortunately, passed away. Their mother, Lindsay Clancy, had jumped from a 2nd-story window in what authorities say was a suicide attempt. She also cut both her wrists and her neck before jumping. She did survive, but was left permanently paralyzed from the waist down. Within days, like I said, all the children had died. Callan had passed away as well. But almost immediately, people began asking one question: how could this possibly happen? Who was Lindsay? She wasn't someone with a violent criminal history. She was actually a labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital. Ironically, her whole career was caring and delivering babies. Friends described her as caring, loving, patient, and social media painted a picture of what seemed to be a happy, growing family. However, you and I both know that social media rarely tells the whole story. And unfortunately, that was the case here as well. Everything reportedly changed drastically when their last baby, Callan, was born. According to medical records discussed publicly by the defense, Lindsay began experiencing severe anxiety. She stated that with the prior 2 children, she did have anxiety as well, but it was mostly surrounding her back to work date. She felt it was unnatural to separate a mother and a newborn. So she had trouble with that, but not to the extent that she had with Callan. She also experienced difficulty sleeping, obsessive thoughts, intrusive thoughts, depression, and she sought psychiatric treatment repeatedly. Doctors changed medications several times. She was on quite a list of medications. She saw specialists. She was eventually admitted to McLean Hospital, which is a psychiatric facility, before being discharged less than 3 weeks before the killing. On the day of the killings, Patrick Clancy left home to run errands after Lindsay reportedly asked him to pick up takeout and medication for their daughter. During the time he was gone, prosecutors allege Lindsay used exercise bands to strangle each of the children. She then attempted suicide by cutting her neck and wrists and jumping from the upstairs window. Patrick returned home to an imaginable scene. The facts aren't really disputed here. The real battle begins after this point, because the next question isn't what happened, but why it happened. And that's where this case becomes one of the most controversial criminal trials in America. And in part 2, we're going inside Lindsay Clancy's mental health history and diagnoses that could determine the rest of her life. We'll catch you next time.